The African elephant is the absolute peak of terrestrial size, right? But the blue whale is a staggering 11 times bigger than that. Logic and basic physics would normally dictate that as you descend into the extreme density and crushing pressure of the deep sea, you should really only find tiny, highly compressed organisms. And yet, the ocean consistently produces creatures that just utterly dwarf our land giants.
So we really got to ask ourselves, how does anything survive, let alone grow to the size of a school bus, in a completely alien environment? We're talking about a world entirely cut off from the sun's energy, where the traditional food web just totally collapses. To figure this all out, we first need to understand the environment itself.
Let's drop down the water column and see how this builds. We leave the colorful, sunlit surface behind and plunge straight into the twilight zone. Drop below 1,000 meters, and all sunlight completely vanishes into the midnight zone. Keep going, and we hit the abyssal realm, which actually covers 60% of the globe. Finally, we reach the Hadal pelagic zone, the absolute deepest, darkest, V-shaped topographic trenches on Earth, plummeting down to 11,000 meters. And when you hit that absolute bottom, the numbers become almost incomprehensible. The hydrostatic pressure down there is a staggering 1,100 times greater than the atmospheric pressure we experience right now on the surface. It's a crushing force that makes life seem literally, biologically impossible.
To really understand this, we have to look backwards in time.
The story of our deep-sea giants actually starts exactly 66 million years ago when the Chicxulub asteroid struck Earth. Yep, the exact same one that wiped out the dinosaurs. It dramatically spiked the planet's temperature, literally boiling the ocean's surface. To survive that catastrophic heat, countless marine species had no choice but to flee downward into the deep, dark, cooler waters. Suddenly, everyone is crammed into the dark, and food becomes incredibly scarce. This mass migration triggered a high-stakes, absolutely ruthless evolutionary arms race. First, prey animals evolved red skin to become invisible, since red light doesn't penetrate the deep. Predators countered by evolving bioluminescence, making their own built-in flashlights to spot the red prey. Prey countered again by evolving complete bodily transparency so the light would shine right through them. And finally, realizing vision was basically useless at this point, predators just completely lost their eyes. And this brilliantly illustrates the ruthless use-it-or-lose-it rule of evolution. By permanently turning off their visual processing centers, these blind predators freed up immense biological energy. They took all that brain power and redirected it into hyper-accurate senses of smell and echolocation, letting them pinpoint prey from kilometers away in the pitch black.
The science of gigantism. This intense predation is what ultimately drove the need to grow huge. The first of the rules governing this extreme growth is Kleiber's law. It sounds super complex, but it basically proves that the larger an animal gets, the more energy efficient it inherently becomes. Metabolism just doesn't scale on a simple 1-to-1 ratio with size. It actually scales to the 3/4 power, all due to the physics and geometry of an animal's circulatory system.
To really wrap your head around this, picture 1,000 small chickens weighing 1 kilogram each versus one massive whale weighing 1,000 kilograms. Because of its sheer concentrated mass, the whale actually has far less exposed surface area than the 1,000 smaller animals combined. This means the giant whale leaks significantly less heat into the freezing water. It can efficiently store whatever scarce food it finds as fat, allowing it to survive in an environment where a smaller animal would quickly freeze or just starve to death. Finally, we have the concept of island gigantism. Now, we usually associate this with remote land masses, but the deep sea acts as its own massive, isolated ecosystem. As we constantly look upwards, seeking out alien life on other planets and pushing out into the stars, will our carelessness at the surface ultimately destroy the baffling 500-year-old miracles living right here in the abyss? We have a literal alien world directly beneath our oceans, and we might be dismantling it before we even truly understand how it works.